Sunday. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hello, Maeve. Hello, Pixie. Happy Sinful Sunday. Hi, Deadwalk. How are we? Hopefully everything looks good. I know I'm live on Kick and I'm live on Twitch. I think YouTube looks like it might be live. I'm not 100% sure, but we will see. Maeve, thank you for that 60 stream streak, dude. That's awesome. Thank you so very much. How are we doing today? How is everything? I have some pretty cool news to tell you. If you didn't see it in the Discord, if you're not a part of the Discord, I did make partner on Kick. Decent here, I think. Nice, Maeve. Nice. Well, decent's better than shitty, right? It's Darkbreaker. How are you? How is the weather out by you, Maeve? Yesterday we were like 26 degrees, and today we're like 8 degrees. Hello, Deadwalk. Yes, over on the Kick side of things. Hello. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm excited to start this new chapter. Very excited. YouTube should be running as well, but I don't know. It's been weird over there. Perfect. Hello, Kirby's. Hi, how are you? I'm okay, just waiting for Mom to get home. Nice, nice, Darkbreaker. Any plans for the rest of the day? 14 degrees here yesterday. I think looks cooler today. Yeah, we're definitely much cooler today, but the sun is shining at least. But yesterday was like 26 degrees. I was outside all day. Enjoying until I had movie night. It was nice. Catching up on last drive in since I crashed during Ringu. Hi, Leather. How are you? Leatherface loves handles. I feel you. I wasn't home. Well, I was home Friday night, but I was playing games with friends. In the Discord on Friday nights, we have community game night and we play games. So I did end up missing the last drive-in. However, I will catch up on that this weekend. I usually watch the VOD on days that I miss. Hey, Ian, how are you? Good morning. If Mom gets home early enough, movie night, but I'm not sure if it's still going ahead. Yeah, no worries, no worries, no pressure, Darkbreaker, no pressure. Yeah, yesterday was a lot of fun sitting outside. I got to hang out with 2 other dogs and Loki, so 3 dogs. They were just, they were having so much fun. Hello, Jeremiah. How are you? Zach, how are you? Zach, you're in Tennessee, right? Mr. Zach O'Green. Oh, I was up at 5 a.m. today. I have some questions for you. Is it okay if I DM you in Discord later today? I do have some questions. And you're good? Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad you're doing good, Jeremiah. Perfect. Thank you, Zach. Good morning, Don. How are you? I didn't get to watch any movies this weekend besides the one in Discord last night. We watched Night of the Living Dead from 1990, directed by Tom Savini himself. That's who we're going to be discussing today on Coffee Chat of Horrors here very shortly. We're going to be deep diving into the godfather of gore. He is my personal favorite. I love everything that this man does. He is amazing on every level. And that's who we're going to be discussing today in probably about 10 to 15 minutes. This is your first time here doing a Coffee Chat of Horrors. This is a stream, a live horror stream. You're not finding these anywhere else. Where we discuss horror movies, behind the scenes horror movies, directors, actors, stunt actors, and so forth and so on. Join the conversation, be a part of the conversation. Feel free to ask questions, talk among yourself. Yeah, it's a little different than my normal streams, but these ones are not a lot nicer because there's no other noises and shit going on. Hello, Speedy. How are you? How was your weekend? I love his work as well, Darkbreaker. You're doing well. I'm just sitting having a Venom Energy Fruit Punch. Oh, nice, nice, nice. They call Herschel Garden a Lewis that. Yeah, they do. I'm going to hang out with my best friend Trey today. Oh, Jeremiah, I hope you have a great day. I'm good, just relaxing. That's good. I'm glad everyone's getting a chance to relax and, do their thing. You know what? Practical effects go back a long ways. You got to think about it. Practical effects were the main thing in movies. They didn't have CGI. They didn't have those kind of computers back then, even in the 50s. William Castle, he created the Persisto, the Emergo, by utilizing very practical effects, having a skeleton just fly down in the middle of the movie theater. And back then, the skeletons were actually real human skeletons because they were cheaper. Believe that. That was cheaper to get a human skeletal system over a fake prop. Hello, Mischief Maker. Nice Evil. Oh, gosh. Evil's 50% Darkbreaker. What are you been doing? What have you been doing? I don't even understand. I don't know, Pixie. Nice Evil there, Deadwalk. Nice Evil. Thank you guys so much for being over on the green side. I appreciate it. My evil is 231, but let me see what my evil is over here. Puppy sitting Bailey today. Nice. Nice, 202. Evil will slowly work over on YouTube. YouTube always has an issue, and there's always a delay with the bot, and I don't understand why. I don't understand. YouTube has been giving me a problem lately. I just wish it was built more for live streaming than what it is built right now, right? You went overboard, just recovering from going overboard at the gym this morning. Oh, Pixie, I'm going to the gym after CCOH today because it was too nice of a day yesterday to be spent indoors. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the bot over on YouTube. I don't know. YouTube has been, like I said, very strange with some things lately. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it's weird. Personally, I think Savini's Night of the Living Dead is one of the scariest zombie movies. You know, I think it is a scary zombie movie. I love his take on the Night of the Living Dead. Romero and him became friends later on. Well, before he met Romero, we'll go into that. We'll go into that. I did deep dive Savini. I read quite a few different articles and interviews and looked up some source material of my own in some of the Fangoria magazines I have. So hopefully I have got everything covered. Besides that man coming here and sitting down with me and talking Tom Savini, I did my best to get what I could off the internet. My favorite flick, do you mean the one that he's directed? One that he's actually did SFX for? One that he's acted in? Because my favorite is Sex Machine. And that isn't, everybody knows From Dusk Till Dawn, Sex Machine. And then I also loved him in Machete. But one of my favorite directed films by him is Night of the Living Dead 1990. And one of my favorite special effects from him, oh, he did the Creepshow flick, was really good. Who doesn't love Sex Machine, right? It's like, come on. He's such a diverse man, being a director, being a special effects god, being an actor. Planet Terror. Oh, I love Planet Terror. And he's worked with some of the best of the best of the best, right? Ian, what's your favorite? Do you think Creepshow is your favorite of Savini's? And I ask what, because he is such a diverse human that he's directed movies, that he's acted movies, and he has just done special effects for movies. I hope to send you my comment in your Pontypool video later. If you read it, I would like that you could make me, yeah, sure, Kirby's, I can definitely do so. Not a problem. Not a problem. I have a lot of favorites of Tom Savini, you know, just special effects wise, the way he utilizes his past, being in Vietnam to create the realistic, what we see in the movies today. And I mean, I call him the godfather of gore because in all honesty, he really is. We had special effects way before Tom Savini ever made it on the stage. You know what I mean? We had people like Lon Chaney who did his own makeup, did a lot of his own stuff. We had William Castle, another director who believed in just the stuff that he did, right? But I want to say that Tom Savini, the godfather of gore, he's the one who actually brought to life the visceral visuals we get to see in, you know, Friday the 13th, and all the other movies that he has done. I mean, you can't forget the classics and where it all started. No, but to say anyone is other than the godfather of gore, gore honestly did not come to life until basically Savini stepped in. Yes, you can argue Night of the Living Dead, the original with the Bosco's chocolate syrup and the ham, because that's what they used in creating that scene where they're feasting in the back of the truck, like it's blown up at the gas station. But that's not really gore per se. You don't really see a lot of that. Then you can go in and say, back in the day, that kind of stuff was not allowed on television. Shit, it was illegal and a huge taboo to have someone lay in bed, let alone poop on a toilet or have a toilet show in movies back then. The famed Westmore family of makeup effects artists as icons as well. Yeah, there's a ton of icons, but to call anyone other than him the godfather of gore, I'd have to disagree. Have you been watching Day of the Dead Bloodline? I have not watched it lately. Hello, Red Dragon. How are you? I'm fabulous, dude. I'm fabulous. I can't complain. I'm here hanging out with you guys this Sunday morning. We're going to chat about one of my favorite special effects artists. Last weekend, we talked about one of my favorite horror directors, William Castle. And we're going to talk about one of my favorite, Tom Savini. Pixie, I'm adding Pascal to the Coffee Chat of Horrors. I already contacted Reaper to have Reaper create me some infographics like you will see on the next scene. So we're going to be bringing him in. As well, another Italian director. Guess what? I watched Monkey Shine's 1988 last night. I watched it when I was little. Nice. Yeah. I think we should just dive right into it now. What you think, right? Okay, so if this is your first time here doing a CCOH with me, please feel free to join the conversation. Feel free to recommend movies. Feel free to talk amongst yourself. Feel free to add input to what I'm already given. This is a live horror talk show, so yeah, you know what I mean? We will have a disclaimer that will pop up here because I'm not responsible for you getting scared or traumatized by any of the visuals that you may or may not see here on this channel. I'm not William Castle, and I do not have a gimmick where I will hand out $1,000 life insurance certificate plans for each person who watches this and doesn't die from fright. Perfect, Galaxy, perfect. But that would be quite cool, hey? Yes, I have a long time ago, Red Dragon, a long time ago. All right, let's see here before we dive in. The one thing that I always forget to do every stream is to switch my stream deck from regular game stream to a CCOH. I posted the pic in the All Pics channel, the Very Shy to it. I appreciate it. Again, it's not necessary. You don't have to, but you can. As for acting roles, I always liked him as the biker in Dawn. Yeah, he was Blades, right? But he sure was a joke as Jack the Ripper in that one flick. He did the great practical effects for Maniac. Hello, Reaper 1923. How are you? How are you? That would be a great promotional stunt on Kick, right? The life insurance policy. I think that would be really cool. If you guys missed my last CCOH on my YouTube channel, all the VODs are there. We discussed William Castle last weekend. Also, I seen King Kong. That's one of my favorites, Red Dragon. One of my favorites. Enjoy your lurk, Galaxy. All right, let's dive into it, guys. Without further ado.
Who likes scary movies and coffee?
The following show is based on research on horror movies and what goes on behind the scenes of your favorite scary movies. Horde Entertainment or ReAnimateHer is not responsible for the macabre and horror that you are about to witness. Viewer discretion is advised.
Haha, welcome guys. Good day, my creepies, and welcome back to the channel. This is your first time here. I am ReAnimateHer, your queen of scream. I am going to be discussing, while sipping this delicious coffee in the shadows, we're going to be discussing the legendary Tom Savini, the godfather of gore himself. I am super excited to talk about Tom because he is amazing. And if you are a horror fan, then you have seen his work in action for many, many years. Have you seen that one thing that what, James? I have no idea what you're talking about. How you doing today though, James? Um what was I going to say before I did this? Oh, and at the end of my discussion about Tom Savini, we usually just go into a just chatting session. Just an FYI. So today we're diving into the blood-soaked career of one of horror's most iconic figures. Whether you know him from Friday the 13th, Dawn of the Dead, or From Dusk Till Dawn, Savini has literally changed the face of horror, often by ripping it clean off, which we've seen plenty of times. Oh, okay, Clerks. I've seen Clerks. Heavy's a huge fan of Clerks. So pour yourself a hot mug of something sinister and let's take a deeper dive into the artistry, the blood, and the guts behind the legend. Tom Savini was born in 1946 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a city that would become central to his horror career. Raised in an Italian-American household, his love for horror bloomed early, inspired by classic monster movies and special effects behind him. It's too hot and humid for hot things. Oh, it's not here. Shit, not here. Dick Smith did some pretty nifty early gore effects. Your height, I know, it's such a fun time. Tom was inspired by the film Man of a Thousand Faces in 1957. He became fascinated with the magic and illusion of film. He spent in his youth his room creating creatures and characters by tirelessly practicing makeup. A lot of them who've got started at this point, you know, like Greg Nicotero and others in this industry, all started out young with a fascination of horror. Most of them that are older than myself, usually the classic monsters, Lon Chaney, some of the older horror films, right? And it's really good to see. Dick Smith is definitely a legend. I'm not taken away from any of those others. I would just say what Savini was doing was a hell of a lot more gore-tastic, like gore, in my opinion. But what truly shaped his special effects style was his time as a combat photographer in Vietnam. He did go off to war in that era. And he seen a lot of real life gore, people's legs being blown off, people being blown up, shot, all sorts of nasty, nasty shit that he's seen as a photographer. So he's right there in the shit. I don't know if you guys ever see what a war photographer goes through, but there's a really good documentary and a really good movie on war photography if anyone is ever interested. He's spoken openly about seeing the real life effects of violence, and death gave him a deeper understanding of the anatomy and a drive to make his effects feel real. He didn't want cartoonish effects. He didn't want the campy. He wanted real. And it's what makes his work so visceral. There's a quote from Tom saying, "When I create special effects, I'm replicating what I saw in Vietnam." So he is trying to be more realistic and not more of the shock side of things, because we've seen shock horror. We've seen, you know, gore for shock and all that jazz. Hello, Wickedy. How are you? Good day, good day. Yeah, Vietnam was sure not pretty. No, not for anybody involved. Not for any sides, right? With all those, yeah, there's a lot of shit, right? Like, his ability to balance that realism with theatrical gore is what makes his style so iconic. Tom Savini made his way into the movie industry by working on low-budget films such as Deranged and Death Dream. Soon after, Savini met up with George A. Romero, a director known for introducing the classic zombie trope and the zombies that we love and know, which has evolved so much from the original Night of the Living Dead. The pair first began working together on a film called Martin in 1976, which to even meet Romero, like, and then to become friends with him, and then to be able to work for Romero, just is gotta be amazing. Chillin', nice, writing, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Writing is always fun. So let's talk about his film career, like his actual special effects career. We all know the movie Dawn of the Dead from 1978, and if you don't know this movie, then you need to go and watch it. This is a zombie rite of passage. It's like not watching Night of the Living Dead. These are just like parts you have to go and watch them. Working with George Romero, Savini brought zombies to life. Well, undead life, using squibs, prosthetics, and gallons of fake blood. This was a huge step forward in practical effects. If you take a look at any zombie film prior to 1978, the gore effect. Now, I'm not talking Italian horror. I'm not talking about any Italian horror because we all know. I'm talking about North America, movies being made in the United States or Canada. Because I know there's a lot of other horror out there in other cultures and other countries. But this is what I'm talking about is here. In Friday the 13th, 1980, if you've ever flinched at a machete to the face, think or blame Savini. His gruesome work gave Jason Voorhees his bloody entrance into the horror story. There is a scene in Friday the 13th where Kevin Bacon, if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, please do so. Kevin Bacon is laying in bed. And Jason is underneath this bed. How Jason got this huge, metal thing to go through the bed and down on the floor, that's a whole other story. However, Kevin Bacon's laying on the bed, and there is this metal pointy thing that comes up underneath the bed and pushes out through his neck here, and then blood spurts. Well, the apparatus that was supposed to make that blood squirt and spray out broke. So last minute on the fly, he had to actually put the hose in his mouth and blow air into it to get the blood to actually splurt and, bubble and do what it needed to do. And these are effects that people were not doing on a regular. They were learning on the fly. They were learning to do these things as they went along. There was no handbook that he went through to be like, okay, this is how I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to make this. They did it on the fly. So the guys of that time, the women of that time doing special effects, creating movies, very brilliant and very creative. Carlo Rambaldi is another early pioneer of scream gore effects. Just check out his work in Old Fix, The Bay of Blood. Actually, we will be, Ian, next Sunday. We're going to be talking about Mario Bava, and Bay of Blood is one of his films. So we will be talking about Bava. We're going to talk about a few other Italian directors because they are, Giallo is one of my favorites. I love Mario Bava. I love Argento. So we're going to be discussing, before Coffee Chat of Horror season ends for the summer, we are going to be discussing some more directors. And reminder, CCOH is seasonal. So it does end in June. So we only have a few weeks left of chit-chatting horror on Sunday. But it will return for season 8. Yeah, we've been doing this for 8 friggin' seasons, man. Season 8 will return sometime in the fall, most likely the first week of October. And we'll have a nice special. Last year we did Asian horror. Hello, Naomi. We did a lot of J-horror for the month of October. I love Italian. Oh, God, Italian horror is great. Italian opera. The movie Opera is one of my favorites. No, the best of weeks for me, but I am here now. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're doing all right. Okay, one of my favorite movies is The Creep Show from 1982, which is a love letter to horror comics. This film let Savini experiment with stylized gore and comic book aesthetics. He even played the garbage man at the end. I don't know if anyone caught on to that one, but Creep Show I watched growing up when I was a kid. There are some scenes that really messed with me. Cockroaches, huge. That one is the scariest one. And I think in the second Creep Show, the scariest one is that lake creature, that blob from the lake. Yeah, that one I think is the scariest one out of all of the Creep Show 2 anthologies. What is everyone's favorite Creep Show scene? I'm sure the majority of you have seen Creep Show from 1982. And if you're sitting here saying, I don't think I've ever seen that, go and check it out. It's not too crazy, it's not like over the top. It's a lot of fun to watch. I'm guilty of liking Creepshow 2 more than Creepshow 1. Hey, everybody has their opinion about movies and horror, and that's what's so great about horror. Movies in general is a work of art. It's someone's artwork. It's like a painting, but in movement, right? And that's what's really great about art is it's subjective to the person who's watching it. Not every person's going to have the same reaction to the same film. And that's what I really love about movies and art. It is subjective to the person watching it. And sometimes a movie will make one person feel one way and another person feel another way. And that's perfectly fine. I seen Creepshow when I was a little kid too. Red Dragon, that one made me freak out with insects, man. Speaking of, have you seen monster movie 8-Legged Freaks? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Yeah, Creepshow is really good. Creepshow 3 kind of... I'm not going to tell you not to watch it because I'm not one of those people. You may love Creepshow 3. You may. Who knows? There are 3 entries. Monster, I agree. I cannot seem to like The Burning. I hate that film. Some people don't like The Burning, right? Some people don't like The Exorcist. Thanks for the ride, lady. Get back, you 8-Legged Freaks. Yeah, that's a good movie. Creepshow 3 was a no for me. Yeah, I'm just gonna say watch if you want. I'm not gonna tell you not to watch it. I don't like telling people not to watch something because what I dislike or what thought was meh, you might fucking love, right? The creep is an amazing creature. Yeah, he is an amazing creature. Like we have the creep, we have the crypt keeper, totally 2 different characters, both scary as hell when you're younger. I have seen Snakes on a Plane. Sure, give it a try. You might like it. Yeah, you might like it. I haven't met anyone yet that told me Creepshow 3 is their favorite, but you may be that weirdo, I've seen Anaconda as well. Yeah. Now, Day of the Dead was released in 1985. And this might be his most complex work. Zombies ripping people apart. Yes, realistic brain removal. Check. All done with practical magic. The Day of the Dead, 1985 is an amazing film. Again, if you haven't seen it, please go and watch it. It is a great movie, and there is a great scene of being ripped apart by zombies. And I'm not talking about Night of the Living Dead being grabbed. I'm talking about intestines being ripped out, literally an entire gutting of the abdomen and the chest. Like, it is pretty friggin' phenomenal, the visuals in this movie. Anaconda is definitely funny. Yeah. Snakes on the Plane was funny as well. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson, I mean, come on, the man's a friggin' legend. The scene where the zombies roll over on the table and reaches for Sarah and his guts. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, everything just comes out and disgusting. Trick or Treat is coming out with really that tears apart. Nice. There's a lot of scenes in Day of the Dead that show different kinds of body parts being ripped off, being ripped open. The scene of the mad scientist in the building coming in and working or experimenting on these zombies is quite crazy. And we see that kind of aspect in Night of the Living Dead, and we see that in the remake of Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead, where they're taking these creatures and hanging them in trees, where they're hanging them in trees, they're tormenting them, they're pinning them up against other people, just basically torturing these zombies, these creatures of the undead. And yes, we do have an ad break, so we're going to pause right there. And we're not going to go any further because I don't like hiding any information behind a paywall. If you're watching me on the red platform or the green platform, unfortunately, the purple one has ads. I cannot look at Anaconda. I think I told Rhea that a few weeks ago. I just can't with snakes, especially giant ones. Yeah, I found Anaconda and Snakes on a Plane to be funny. I think Night of the Living Dead of Tom Savini is so much better than the original version. Do you, Kirby? I find the original version, Night of the Living Dead, black and white, to be more horrifying than the remake in color. There's just something about the black and white, seeing these undead eat and gnaw on human body parts. I don't know, just for me, the black and white one, maybe it's because that's the first zombie movie I've seen when I was little. I agree with Deadwalk. I do enjoy the changes, except for the one change that I seen that I voiced my I voiced my dislike for it last night in the Discord when we were watching Night of the Living Dead. The black and white has that creep factor. It really does, and that's what I think color movies kind of miss. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love in color movies, but I seen 1973. Nice. As my dad says, if it's black and white, it's got to be true. And in black and white, like the Munsters, everyone thinks that the skin color and everything was just black and white, and it's not. It's actually lavender. But lavender helps. What I'm doing right now is the same effect that they did. Like my visual is the same effect that they did on TV film in black and white back in the day. My favorite reptiles, I love bearded dragons. The 90 remake certainly wasn't groundbreaking like the 68. No, Ian, and you're not going to get anything that's going to groundbreak like that. I did enjoy the remake. I've owned a couple of snakes, so my favorite one out of all of them is the Kenyan sand boa. Weirdly, black and white looks more real to me than color. Yeah, black and white looks more real, and it's also nowadays unnatural when you think about it. Back in the day where color TV and Technicolor wasn't in existence, black and white is what you've seen, right? Welcome back from that ad. So black and white was normal for back then. Nowadays, everything is in color. And when people aren't used to watching black and white, you still get that uneasy feeling through the visuals. My girlfriend Zara loves Burmese pythons. Yeah, they're nice, but I do like a Kenyan sand boa. They're beautiful. It wasn't, but it's an example of a remake done right. Yes, I would have to completely agree with you, Deadwalk, on that. The Night of the Living Dead, 1990 by Tom Savini, is definitely a remake done correctly. There's not many remakes that are done right? We know that remakes, we all roll our eyes, not another remake, because we know that the majority of remakes suck. There's very few that go on par with the original or go above and beyond the original. Very, very, very few. Some other good black and white horror flicks are The Honeymoon Killers, In Cold Blood. Eraserhead is really good. I saw a film the other day with Linda Blair called Summer of Fear. It was directed by Wes Craven, where her cousin is into witchcraft, and there's a lot of great movies out there. I had a corn snake that was super sweet. His name was Rio, but his nickname was Cornflakes. That's cute. Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman did a good use of black and white for the beginning. Yeah, I did do a good use of that. We have Burmese pythons here and boas and even some anacondas. I know I'm going back on track, Deadwalk. Yes, let's go back on track. Now, this, The Bizarre Theater, is another film that Savini was on as well. I don't know if anyone here has seen The Bizarre Theater, but if you haven't, go check it out. Maniac. Now, I know this is a few people's personal favorite of Tom Savini's films. Maniac in 1980. There's a legendary scene. If you haven't seen this movie, definitely go and check it out. Nosferatu is an amazing silent black and white film. The first of its actual kind, back in the 1920s. A legendary scene with a shotgun to the head and that head exploding. That was Savini's own head cast, and he fired the gun himself. Now, there's not many movies that do a head explosion correctly, but Maniac does. There's a few other movies that do it really well. Videodrome is another one that has an amazing head pop. Adding to list. Oh, yes, definitely add it to list. Maniac is a good movie. Maniac is a strange movie, but it's a good movie. It is about a slasher kind of guy, but not like a Friday the 13th, right? Scanners, yes, Scanners. Scanners. Yeah, that's another one where, oh, what's his friggin' name? Yeah. Hello, Vengeance. I can't think of his friggin' name at the moment. Fuck. Anyways, it's off track anyhow. But yeah, Maniac 1980. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. There is a remake of Maniac, which is not too bad. You probably haven't, Basement Cat, but check out Maniac 1980. But then there's a remake with that Harry Potter guy. What's that Harry Potter's dude's name? I can't remember his name. He's in the remake and he does really well. I like the remake of Maniac, and he does. Daniel Radcliffe, thank you, Deadwalk. He does a great job in Maniac. I believe Maniac 2012. And don't quote me on the 2012 part. In Cold Blood is really more of a thriller than a horror, but what the hell? In Cold Blood, there's a lot of good movies that depends. Horror's definition is anything that makes you feel disgusted, gives you anxiety, gives you a fear, can be considered horror, like The Wizard of Oz or The Return of Oz can be considered a horror per se, depending on the person watching that film, right? It may not be logged as a horror. However, the person watching it could be terrified. And that to them would be a horror. I'll have to show Videodrome one Sunday after I get my PC built. Elijah Wood was... Okay, so Elijah Wood... So who played, I get those two. Okay, so who played Harry Potter? Daniel Radcliffe. Elijah Wood played in Maniac. See, I get those two confused. They kind of look alike to me. I liked your intro movies for kids video on YouTube. Thanks, Speedy. It's the same movies that I introduced my children to. The scene of Savini's Night of the Living Dead, where the zombies bang on the house windows with their cold, pale hands trying to enter the house, is amazing and terrifying. It is terrifying. Daniel played Harry Potter. Okay, so Elijah, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, those two are the same to me, man. So it's Elijah Wood that is in the Maniac remake, not Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah. To me, they're the same. I know. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Yes, Wickedy. Yes. I think there's quite a few terrifying things in Night of the Living Dead from 1990. The fact that the zombie picks up a brick and breaks the car window, right? To me, they look alike, Speedy. I think it's the eyes. Hello, Rainy. How are you? A fun fact. He used real animal organs in Maniac to add realism to the scene. Now, this is not abnormal because Tobe Hooper in the 1970s Texas Chainsaw Massacre utilized animal parts as well, primarily insides that they got from the veterinary clinic and the butcher. So this is not unheard of. It's not like it's never been done before. But to get that realism, they did use animal organs. We'll add the movie to, yeah, definitely a tribute for Val Kilmer. And Fabulous Rainy. We are deep diving Tom Savini. Yeah, I would think the smell of real innards would be disgusting. Okay, I will start with the 1980 Maniac first. I am stumped if I have seen this movie or not. You would remember it. I mean, the blowing off of one's head is so iconic that you will remember it if you've seen it. It is an iconic scene. If anything anyone ever remembers from that movie is that scene. Top Gun Maverick was a great movie, had a good tribute to Val Kilmer, although I thought he died after the movie. I have no idea. I still haven't seen that one. Yeah, still got to do my tribute month for Val. Yeah. Maniac wasn't that very controversial film when it came out. No, because there was a lot of other controversial films. I mean, horror itself was controversial because of the violence against women. And even to this day, you have people saying, oh, you like horror movies? You must like violence against women. I'm like, have you watched a horror movie? There may be some violence towards women, but who is the underdog that gets taken, that people take advantage of? The underdog. And it's usually a woman. So that's my fight back with that, because that's some shit. I have a memory of Thumbtack this week. My memory is shitty. I got Elijah Wood and Daniel Radcliffe confused, right? They never heard of a final girl. Exactly. They've never heard of a final girl. But you have people that think if you watch horror, you're a Satanist. You like violence against women, yada, yada, yada. I remember back in the 90s, in 80s and the 90s, where people would, look at you funny for enjoying horror films. Yeah, like Jamie Lee Curtis survived in Halloween, had the Langenkamp against Freddy. Yeah, definitely. I am going off track. Who are usually the bad asses in horror movies? Women, exactly. Or the any marginalized person really is always the winner in horror movies when you really think about it. Okay, so what makes Tom Savini? Okay, so he works mostly with latex, gelatin, fake blood, air pumps, and reverse film tricks. We've seen in numerous movies that I've deep dived the reverse film trick. That's not new either, but that's a nice little trick that people have used in their movies. When he was asked what was his goal was to make the audience question if what they saw was real. He wasn't just doing it for the shock tactic or the shock value. He made gore an art form, which he really did. Because what he set out to do, what he wanted is what he got. He created realistic gore effects that people, you could ask yourself back in the day. Now we have the internet and the internet will tell us. But back in the day, you could ask yourself, was that real? Look at Faces of Death when that came out. We didn't have internet when that came out. Women and marginalized people refuse to be victimized. They stand up and fight in horror. 100% they do. It's like saying Star Wars didn't have women in the movies. I was like, have you not seen Carrie Fisher, right? She was definitely a badass. May she rest in peace. Hello, Dark Psycho. Tons of people get Frodo and Harry Potter confused. I get them confused all the time, Dark Psycho. All the time. Now, what was I saying? What was I rolling on about? Shit. So yeah, to make his audience question whether it was real, I talked about Faces of Death. Faces of Death came out. It was a rite of passage in the 80s, and we didn't have the internet. So what you saw on there, you assumed was real. However, it wasn't real. There's a monkey scene. That is all fake. The electrocution scene. That is all fake. Everything you've seen on Faces of Death is fake or reenactment. But we didn't know that back then. Hello, Robert. I had all the VHS tapes of Faces of Death. Nice. Hello, Lurk. Agreed. Savini and many others used actual art to elevate the realism in horror. There, they definitely did, Deadwalk. Hills Have Eyes remake has a wimpy white guy as a badass, so I'm represented in that movie. Horror, I believe, represents everybody. Everybody. Because you have the final guy trope. You have the final couple trope. You have the final girl trope. I think they represent everybody. I hope you're doing good, Dark Psycho. Only the aftermath of accidents and war stuff was real in Faces of Death. They actually... It was just reenactment, so technically it was not real. Some of the pictures you've seen were real, and did you know that Faces of Death started by a Japanese company first, right? I did an entire deep dive on my podcast about Faces of Death. The monkey scene was the most memorable for me in Faces of Death. 100% Roth. Everybody remembers the monkey scene, and that was fake. That was completely fake. There were no badass women in sci-fi until the 2010s. Argument is so stupid. Ellen Ripley, yeah, and Sarah Connor. These are also sci-fi horror and sci-fi action films, but people fail to forget that they're also sci-fi. You know what I mean? I have an unopened Faces of Death VHS. Nice. A quick little squirrel moment here. They were remaking the Faces of Death. Now, my little gripe with that one is you cannot catch the essence of what Faces of Death did back in the day. You are, unfortunately, with the technology era that we have right now, you can't do that. I mean, Blair Witch got away with it in 2004 with their whole missing thing because the internet was still quite new and it was a Wild West back then. And they literally created wanted missing photos and had an entire town in on the movie. They even made a Facebook page. This is when Facebook was actually Facebook and not some bullshit site that it is now. Who was the first horror movie heroine, by the way? The girl in, oh, I would have to say higher than that. Because there is Peeping Tom, there's Torso, like that is a whole crazy conversation that we can probably do for a CCOH. Would you guys be down for a conversation and discussion on who was the first horror movie heroine? Because I think that would be a great conversation. I think that would be awesome to see different people's questions to that. And we can be all over. The most mainstream heroine would be Sally Hardesty. Yes. She wouldn't be the first, though. No. We do not need an FOD remake. No, we do not. We definitely don't need any more remakes, but whatever. Yeah, I woke up with a headache, but I have coffee and now I'm good. I'm glad you're feeling better, Dark Psycho. Speaking of sci-fi action movies, have you guys seen RoboCop 2? Yeah, I've seen it. It's not for, I haven't seen it in a long ass time, though. I'm actually going to take that from you, Ian, and I'm going to pop it into my Discord so I could utilize that as a topic. So thank you for giving me a topic, Ian, and I will definitely give you credit for that topic in the live. We're going to use that as one of our CCOH topics to talk about, and we're going to do some homework. We're going to do some homework as a community together, and we're going to figure out who was the first final person, heroine, female. A remake of a documentary that will be a definite first. Yeah, they're remaking it. Yeah. I mean, it's not real. They could remake it, but it's not going to hit the same as the original did. It's like the Poughkeepsie tapes. Poughkeepsie tapes is one of my most favorite found footage films, and it's all fake. I think Van Helsing. Okay, so back to Tom Savini. Okay, so his work directly influenced modern horror FX people like Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger. Greg Nicotero actually worked as an assistant to Tom Savini. And you have Greg Nicotero. He did The Walking Dead. He is huge. He is famous for so many amazing practical effects. Howard Berger is also with Evil Dead 2 and Kill Bill. There's quite a few others in there as well. I loved Poughkeepsie tapes. Yeah, I loved Poughkeepsie tapes as well. It was a very uncomfortable movie. I know, finally, right? Even developers of horror video games like Dead by Daylight cite his work as foundational. So his work has influenced so many areas of horror, whether it's video games or movies or really whatever. It has influenced and seeped into everything. And for, Savini kept things physical and dirty in an age where horror FX were shifting to CGI, and we see this in a lot of movies. He kept it raw and tangible. Back in the day, House on Haunted Hill by William Castle, they didn't have computer generated graphics. They couldn't do CGI. So they utilized and had to rely on practical effects. As we got later on and we come into the 3D stage in the 80s, and then we come into CGI and all of this stuff in the 70s, because they did have CGI in the 70s, not as what we have right now. So, the fact that practical effects are amazing and keep everything realistic. Yeah, CGI can give you a, and I quotation, realistic view of innards of somebody being ripped out, but it's still not the same. And you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference of a CGI werewolf in Van Helsing compared to the American Werewolf in London, or The Howling, or Dog Soldiers for that matter. I know, squirrel moment, but it's not really a squirrel moment because it goes into special effects. Van Helsing gets cited for some of the best werewolves in horror, and it makes my head scratch, and I'm like, how the fuck does that best? Because it's CGI. Anyone can make a good CGI fucking werewolf. They do it in video games. Anyone can do that shit. What takes real magic is the practical effects of a full body transformation in an American Werewolf in London. You're not going to get any better than that. That is practical effects at its fucking finest. CGI is fine to accent. Yes, 100%. It is fine to accent. So let's say, for example, The Exorcist, that spider walk? They removed wires and things with CGI for the DVD release. Utilizing small things for CGI, sure. Tidying up a couple of things, removing wires. Damien Leon does not use, he uses CGI to remove specific things like wires and other stuff, but he uses all practical effects in his gore for Art the Clown, which Art the Clown really isn't a fucking clown. But Mischief Maker, how are you? Yeah, I will never forget seeing that American Werewolf in London transformation for the first time. No, me neither. Like that's burned into my psyche, as well as Howling, man. Howling didn't have a full body transformation, but they had a top half transformation, right? Stop motion was a big thing in that as well. Yeah. The Walking Dead uses it to enhance, not replace. Exactly. Greg Nicotero, could you imagine if all they wanted to do was CGI, all of these amazing practical effects creators would have gone to the wayside? There is something so synthetic with CGI. It's obvious. Yeah, I think that's why I can't get into Marvel movies. I don't know. I'm just not into Marvel movies, all that fancy shit. So as we know, Savini was not just behind the camera. He is also an actor. He is, one of my favorite characters. He is unforgettable as Sex Machine in From Dusk Till Dawn. That gun crotch, that's just friggin' amazing. And the fact that he had a whip, and he is just an all-around amazing person. He also showed up in Machete, which is another one of my personal favorites, Grindhouse, and there's a ton of other movies that he shows up in. He cameos in a lot of films. Sometimes you don't even know it's him, but he does show up a lot. I love Machete too. I'm waiting for Machete in space. I mean, come on now. The cock revolver, exactly. And we see that again later on in Machete. What's that beautiful lady's name? Sophia? No, Sophie? I believe she's Colombian. She's gorgeous, and she is one of the main female leads in Machete. What? No, not Salma Hayek. No, she's fucking gorgeous as well. What is her name? No, not Salma Hayek. She's in Machete. I mean, Machete Kills. She's in the TV series with the family with Sophia. That's her. Yes, that's her. You see his gun crotch in that one. Not Jessica Alba. It was Sofia Vergara. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name there, but she's also in a TV series. Wouldn't say he's underrated because he's actually pretty well renowned. No, I wouldn't say he's underrated. Who? Dick? Who are we talking about? Dick Smith, an underrated makeup artist. Oh, no. I don't believe he's underrated, to be honest with you. I think he's pretty well known in the world. But yeah, Sophia, you see her utilize the crotch gun. She also had a booby gun as well. That's the first thing she throws on, right? And she starts shooting. No, Dick Wolf, not Dick Wolf. Okay, so as a director, he brought his own style to Romero's Night of the Living Dead 1990 remake. While Romero focused on atmosphere, Savini brought the brutality, which you definitely see in this movie. When you compare side to side this movie, Night of the Living Dead, to the original Night of the Living Dead, you can definitely see there is more gore. We're talking about my dick, right? He did bring more brutality to this one, where Romero did focus on atmosphere. Michelle Rodriguez, I love Michelle Rodriguez as well. She's in Machete too. Yeah. Jessica Alba is, but she doesn't make Machete kills. Jessica Alba is killed off in Machete kills. But Michelle isn't. Now, in Night of the Living Dead remake that Tom Savini directed, my only gripe, and I love this movie, my only gripe is the daughter killing the mother scene. In the original, we see the shadow effect of the spade, or whatever you want to call that tool, that garden tool, that you see the little girl stabbing into her mother. I really liked that scene. In the remake, she is just coming at her mother, and then her mother is just like, oh, my poor baby, and allows her zombie child to bite into her. That that scene was for me, because I do prefer the other scene from the original. The dual role gave Savini more credibility in the horror space, and not just a makeup guy, but a multi-talented creator. He didn't just create horror history, he taught it. Savini founded the Tom Savini Special Makeup Effects Program in Pennsylvania, where students learn the hands-on craft of creature creation, gore effects, and prosthetic work. He's training the next generation of FX artists to keep horror practical and grounded in physical work. It's not just an education, but it's also a legacy, preservation. Oh my Lord, why can't I speak this morning? I don't have really mind either person of Helen's death. Either way, the horror a mother might experience seeing her child turning and coming at her. Well, yeah, either way, you're going to see that in either side of the films, right? Whether it's the new one or the old one or the remake. I don't know. They got pretty graphic with the cannibalism in the original. I like the original. The original is my favorite. I mean, I like Night of the Living Dead. I like what he created and what he has done for the remake. I find the remake a little more brutal in a few different aspects. Mine's an eldritch horror. Yeah. Savini and Nicotero both created my favorite Leatherface mask, Bubba in 2 and Junior in Chainsaw 3. Not really a fan of Nicotero in the TCM game. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Nicotero in the TCM game either. But Leatherface has amazing masks. I think throughout the entire chapters, he's a scary bitch. Like, he's scary. I do love the 2022 mask of Leatherface. You know, Fede Alvarez. I do like that mask, though. Okay, so Tom Savini matters to horror because he made gore meaningful. He blended horror with heart, trauma with talent, and artistry with viscera. We've got an ad that's going to hit here in like 53 seconds, so I'm not going to dive into any more info that we have until this ad is done, but we can scroll all we want. I do like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. I like the mask in that. I love how Mark Burnham portrays Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty brutal. There were some scenes that I was like, what the shit? We let someone live? Because I'm all about killing off the final people. I'm all about that. Final girl trope had its run. It had its run. I'm done. I don't need any more final girls. I need more deaths, more blood, guts, and ass, more bodies on the floor. I'm still working upon my Savini Bunny Deb cosplay in honor of the game. Nice, Pixie. I wish Mark's mask had stitches, but I know it was a spur of the moment mask, though. I like his mask. I think it's all like one piece as he peeled the friggin' face off. Pulls the car over so Ra doesn't run down a group of orphans visiting sick nuns. Sick nuns. Well, yeah, because there's going to be an ad that's popping up. Have you watched the movie Children of the Living Dead? I probably have. I don't remember. I've watched a lot of zombie films, the good and the bad. Remembering what films I've watched, unless it really stuck with me, that's a no-go. I watch so many movies that if a movie sticks with me, I will remember it. It does sound familiar, right? I can't tell you for sure 110% if I've seen it, Kirby, but I'm pretty sure I have. There should be more horror movies where the villain wins, or if there's a final girl, she narrowly escapes, like Sally from TCM. Hello, Typo Nathan. I am done with the final girl, final boy, final couple trope. I've been done with it for a while. I prefer no final girl, especially when you're going up against something supernatural like Art the Clown, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Chucky, Ghostface. Now he's immortal. Ghostface is human. So you can definitely see him or her making a mistake and someone escaping, because these are mortal people. They're not supernatural. They don't have amazing, monstrous strength. They're not a juggernaut of death. That is a human behind a mask in a costume running around trying to kill other people. I can see someone getting away 100%. However, a being of supernatural presence, I just can't see that happening. I mean, I know why they do the final girl. I know why they do the final trope. I understand why they do the final trope. However, I need to see more movies where the supernatural villain does win. The story, you can't even argue that, oh, well, you couldn't have a sequel. Yes, you can. Look at the myth of Jason Voorhees. Look at the myth of Michael Myers. You can definitely have a sequel. You can have an entire goddamn chapter universe based off of the myth of the killer. Ends ruined Halloween for me. I don't even care for the 3 Halloween universe movies. Jason seems almost supernatural or he is supernatural. And when I say supernatural, I don't mean the paranormal. We know that Jason Voorhees is a revenant zombie. We know Michael Myers is the reincarnation of pure evil. We know Freddy Krueger is a sleep demon, right? Art the Clown, we know he's a demon from the 9th gate. So they're supernatural. They are not of this world, so technically supernatural. Same thing with the Hell Priest in Hellraiser. I mean, Cenobites, interdimensional demons. How the fuck does anyone escape that? I don't know. I'm just done with the final trope. I don't know. That's just me, though. Okay. Welcome back from that ad, even though you've been back from it for a couple of seconds now. As I said before the ad was coming in, Tom Savini matters to horror because he made gore meaningful. He blended a horror with heart, trauma with talent, and artistry with viscera. He gave horror a texture, something you could almost feel. Without Savini, modern horror would be slicker, safer, and probably a hell of a lot less fun. If you had to die, here's a question for you guys. If you had to die in any horror movie with a Savini-style death, what would you choose? Good thing I pulled the car over. Yeah, it's a good thing you did. It's a good thing you did. Now, for me, a Savini-style death, I definitely need to have a lot of blood. If I could be in a horror movie, I definitely want to die violently in a horror movie, whether that is being, you know, hacked up with a chainsaw or a hatchet. I know it's not a Savini SFX, but in the very first Terrifier, that upside down kill, oof, that was fucking gorgasm right there. That was beautiful. But yeah, I don't know. Either being ripped apart by a zombie in a very visceral way, or just being very bloody. I mean, some people want to be eaten by one of those monsters, which I can see. I just want Jason to stab me through the chest with his machete. You don't want an over-the-top Jason kill, Pixie? It's my part of the job to protect the horde. Even Dr. Herbert West is like, what the hell is going on? All right. And in our next episode of Coffee Chat of Horrors, we're heading across the Atlantic to explore the eerie, stylish world of Italian horror as we deep dive into the twisted brilliance of Mario Bava, the master of atmosphere, giallo, and gothic horror. So don't miss it. It's over on YouTube if you want to that reminder. Next Sunday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, right here on all the platforms. And I did hope you enjoy this session of Coffee Chat of Horrors discussion into Tom Savini. So let's take the horror chat over to our just chatting scene since this part is done. There we go. And I'm perfectly on time too, even with the squirreling. I choose the zombie drawn and quarter like Savini's Death in Planet Terra. Ooh, that's a good one, Robert. That is definitely a good one. He's done so many great kills. So many great kills. I mean, you have the Kevin Bacon kill. I don't want the poor boy to strain himself in murderizing me. Right? Nice and easy peasy machete through the heart. Yeah. Yeah. I think one of my favorite kills of Jason, though, is the cleaver machete. Actually, it's a machete to the face of Jarvis. I did a cosplay of that one. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, the sleeping bag kill. Yeah, you guys like the sleeping bag. A lot of people love the sleeping bag kill. It's an iconic kill. It's an amazing kill, actually. The sleeping bag kill, for sure. I laugh every time. Yep, if you're stupid to climb back in a tent or your sleeping bag, you deserve to die. That's what I loved about the video game. Friday the 13th video game brought everything in. They brought everything in, especially part 3. Also, hi, I'm late again, but I had to eat. No worries, Custos. You're here when you're here. You're not late. I'm glad that you're doing good, though. How's Spock? One of my favorite games that has plenty of gore, boobs, and foul mouth is House of the Dead Overkill. Yes, I have that for PlayStation 3. It's a kick-ass game. The corkscrew through the hand is the fun part of the cleaver. Yes, yes. Oh, that corkscrew scene. So Mark Jarvis is in part 2. He is the guy in the wheelchair that gets the machete to the face and he flies backwards down the stairs. Which one has Jason with wearing the yellow gardening gloves? It's one of my favorite ones. It's one of my favorite ones. CJ Graham plays them. Jason Lives. Yeah. It's CJ Graham plays him in that one. I think CJ Graham is a phenomenal Jason Voorhees. Phenomenal, in my opinion. Yeah. Part 6. Yeah. The sheath on the belt. Nice stream streak. Thank you very, very much. Spock's the usual pain in the ass. It's not fun to walk him out after having a workout. No, it never is. Thank you for that streak, Custos. When I go to the gym and have to walk Loki, yeah. Trust me, I know. Loki's 90 pounds of pure puppy. He is, oh God. That boy has energy that goes on like that Energizer Bunny. You guys remember the Energizer Bunny? I know if you're old enough, you'll remember the Energizer Bunny. I do enjoy Jason. I like Michael. I do not care for the new universe of Michael Myers, obviously. Yeah, he keeps going and going. And by new universe, I mean the new 3 chapters. I don't consider them part of the Halloween franchise. I consider them a part of the Halloween universe, just like Marvel has their universe and DC has their universe. It's not canon. It is in a totally different universe, a universe where you can kill the boogeyman, which you fucking can't kill the boogeyman. Like, let's get real. CJ is the perfect newly resurrected Jason. His military background lends an amazing coldness to his physical. He's scary, dude. I think that's the scariest one. The scene where Tommy Jarvis and their friend is in the graveyard, right? And they've dug up Jason already. The lightning hit. These two are off to the side. They're talking amongst themselves, and Jason is rising up out of the grave. And just the way he's standing there, breathing, and that menacing look to him, that is scary as fuck. To me, that is like one of the scariest parts in the chapters of Friday the 13th. Him just standing there all menacing like. If people today don't know the Energizer Bunny, then I guess he's not going anymore. Yeah, you know what, Ian? I don't know if people know about the Energizer Bunny. I don't have cable TV, so I don't even know if he's a thing. I haven't had cable TV in like 20 years. That's the one where he kills Horshack from a Welcome Back Kotter. Yes, his face in 6 and his stance. Oh my God, right? Like, you woke me up, bitch. I thought that was the most menacing and scary. And then of course, Uber Jason. I think Uber Jason is great. And now, don't hate me, and I've said this numerous of times, I don't like Jason Goes to Hell. I don't like the story of what they did. However, I love the way Jason looked in Jason Goes to Hell in the beginning, first like 15 minutes of the film. That was a scary fucking look for Jason. He keeps going and going and going. Energizer Bunny is still going. Okay, awesome, Darkbreaker. Awesome. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't had cable in 20 years. So I don't get commercials. And I don't subscribe to anything that has commercials either. Because if I have to pay for it, then that's not worth it. The only thing I do pay for is Shudder. I don't have ads on Shudder. I like Shudder. Tubi is free, and I don't mind it because it's free. And I don't mind ads if it's free. Yeah, I won't pay for cable. If I have to have commercials, Amazon Prime, if I have to have commercials, not watching it. Netflix, not watching it. If I'm paying for it, there better not be no fucking commercials. Yeah, roided out Jason with the mask pressed to his skull is my favorite look in Jason Goes to Hell, other than zombie Jason's like, oh, and New Blood. Yeah. Jason's look, maggot face, I mean, right there is just so horrifying to see. I really do enjoy the Jason Goes to Hell Jason, and I think if they would have kept the story with this actual Jason instead of this fucking morphing worm bullshit, I think it would have been received a lot better than what it got. Oh, got AMC Plus to watch season 2 of Dead City. It comes with Shudder watching in the flesh. Oh, nice. That's awesome, Dead Walk. Yeah, AMC Plus. We have that here. Yeah, we definitely have that here. Except from YouTube ads. I mean, come on, that's annoying. Well, see, the thing is, if it's free, you honestly can't be annoyed by ads because it's free. Platform has to make money somehow. The creators have to make some money somehow, right? New Blood, Jason is so beautiful. The Visible Bones, yeah. I think he just gets scarier as he goes on in his career. I love Uber Jason. I fucking love Jason X Jason. Yeah, not Worm Jason. But ads, I mean, if you're not paying for it, so be it. That's why I can watch Tubi. I don't mind the 30-second, 60-second ads that Tubi does. That's how Tubi remains free. It's how Tubi pays their indie movie creators. I don't know if you guys know that, but anytime an independent horror film or any independent film goes on Tubi, every time it plays, those ads, that money literally goes back into the pocket of that indie creator who created that film. I learned that by talking with one of the producers of One BR, which is a really great independent horror film that is on Tubi.tv. I don't know. YouTube can go a bit overboard with ads sometimes. Don't even get me started. So Deadwalk, and this is coming from a partnered creator streamer over on YouTube. The creator, if you're watching a partner channel, has full control over ads. We can put them in the beginning, the middle, the end. We can put how many ads we want for. It is a money maker, right? That's how they make their money, how a creator makes their money. Just like with Twitch, but Twitch makes their money on the ads here. They'll want you to play like 40 fucking ads in a minute. I think part 2, Jason, is the scariest look because he looks like me. He does not look like you. You're gorgeous. Same here. If it helps the creators on Tubi, then I don't mind. Yeah, ads are one thing, but when I agree, excessive, 100% on a paid subscription. This is why, if I have to pay for it, there better be nothing. That is how I feel about Twitch. Ads help keep the lights on. It's like watching a movie or a TV show, but you have like 13 minutes of ad in an hour. Yeah, I hate the ads. Yeah, the 1BR interview, I really liked 1BR. I thought it was a great movie. And thank you, Roth. But you can control how many ads you put. No, I can't control shit on Twitch. So Twitch, you have ads regardless. The only thing I can customize on Twitch is how long. I can put 10 minutes worth of ads in a stream if I wanted to. I try as less ads as possible, and that's all I can do. I have no control of anything less. They don't let me go any lower than what I'm already at. I am at the lowest in ads. He's my twin, and we all know this. On Twitch, you will have a limit of 4 of ads in an hour. So my stream, I have 1.5 minute ads every 30 minutes. That is 3 minutes worth of ads. Unfortunately, you can't have like no ads whatsoever. And I can't really have control on where those ads get placed or what ads you actually see. However, with YouTube, I can control what parts of the video I want the ads in. If you have Google, whatever it is, you can actually tailor the ads to your channel. So horror and stuff like that. You can control no ads, some ads, full on ads. Now, if they're not a partner channel, you are stuck with whatever YouTube is throwing at you. So that's no control over the creator. So if you go into a video that you're watching or a stream, now when I live stream on YouTube, I turn off the ads because that is a perk of watching live. After the live, I go in, I add chapters, and I add monetization. Well, you need to get paid, and I'm grateful you put ads on low. I put them on as low as I possibly can. But when you're subscribed, that's the benefit of a subscription, and that's how Twitch gets you. Is, hey, for $5 a month, you can get ad-free. I'd still get paid. I get paid for the ad view and the sub. That's how they do it. Now, Kick, on the other hand, is a platform that has zero ads whatsoever. So it's really in choice on platform and what you mind and what you don't mind. YouTube, again, is up to the creator on that platform. I'm partnered on YouTube, so I am able to have a lot of lenience when it comes to things. They dropped the ball with Jason Takes Manhattan, big downgrade from New Blood. Yeah, there's a theory that Pixie has that it was all a dream. Is Hannibal Lecter the smartest villain? He is a smart villain. I don't know if I could say smartest. That's debatable because of William Graham was able to catch him. He wasn't smart enough, right? You have to go undetected and not catchable. Hello, Dante. How are you? Take a shot every time you say YouTube, right? I know, I'm sorry. They will put ads as well eventually. Possibly, I have no idea, Custos. Kick is still a newer platform. I have been on it now for a little bit. I've been creating a community over there. I have been in other people's communities and making friends on that platform. Just like Beam was when Beam first started. Beam didn't have any ads, and then later on it did have ads, but you were able to buy Mixer Pro, and Mixer Pro took away the ads, yada, yada, yada. Every platform has to make money somehow. I find that Kick's back end is gambling, right? So that's probably one of the reasons why they don't have to have ads. Oh, well, thank you very much, Kirby. I appreciate the compliment. They're trying to make people flock to it, but it gets enough of a user base. They will put no idea, Custos. No idea. They could do what YouTube does if they wanted. YouTube allows people to have ads off of their videos. Welcome back, Galaxy. Welcome back. So, for example, if your video is 8 minutes or longer, if you are monetized on YouTube, your video is 8 minutes or longer, you have the option to turn on ads, turn off ads. If your video is under 8 minutes, you don't have an option for ads whatsoever. So you're getting ad fee viewing. However, YouTube has their own ad emplacements in other videos and stuff like that. YouTube is not running off of a gambling site in the back end. Twitch is running off of Amazon, but it's a subsidiary. So Amazon is not technically flipping the bill for Twitch. Twitch has got to figure out a way to flip the bill. That is why they do a 50-50 split. Kick does a 95-5 split. 95 meaning you make 95% of that sub. The 5% actually goes to Stripe. Kick doesn't take any of that money. YouTube is a 70-30 split on everything. Super chats, donations, and subscriptions. 70-30. So they take 70%, you get 70% of your income, they get 30% of your income. So if you do a super sticker, super chat, you donate money through YouTube itself, they take a percentage. Twitch is a 50-50 split with ads regardless. So the creator makes 50%, Twitch makes 50%, and they make the most on ads. If I'm being honest with you, the money that I make off of ads is piddly. Yeah. Now you'll hear creators who have like 20,000 people watching their stream that aren't subbed or even subbed. They'll make really good money. I don't have 20,000 viewers in this stream, so to think about making that ad money is not even realistic. Do you have a preference of platform you like to work off of based on pay and how things are arranged? I know you said that you like making Twitch your main platform, but it sounds to me like Kick gives a better percentage. I like Twitch. I like Twitch because it gave me a chance. Kick is new, and I have my PTSD for new platforms, especially something like Beam that happened on Mixer. I like Twitch because we came here because it was the only other platform. In all honesty, we came here because Twitch was the only other platform that offered the live streaming that I could offer you today. YouTube at the time didn't really have anything. Then there was a site called Caffeine, still new. There was Trovo, you know. If and when things happen, who knows what happens. I like simulcasting. I like multi-streaming. I love that I can put my shit on everything. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy that aspect. Kick has a lot of benefits for a creator. They do. Twitch has numerous ways of monetization. So let's put it to you this way. Kick has the green site has some ways to monetize yourself as a partnered streamer and as a non-partnered streamer. They have very few ways to monetize. Twitch has numerous ways to monetize, and YouTube has a shit ton of ways to monetize. So the revenue from ads really only benefits the platform. Yes, Deadwalk, 100%. And that is one of the reasons I will not go over there, and not to mention the problematic. Every platform has their problematic streamers, Darkbreaker. Look at Twitch alone. I can name 30 Twitch partners that spew hatred against Jewish people, spew hatred against minorities, and I can go on and on and on and on about the platform here on Twitch. I can go on and on and on about the platform on YouTube and the amount of creators on there, big creators that are the face of YouTube that are pure out misogynistic and racist. Every platform has their bullshit. Every platform. Not one platform is going to be better than the other when it comes down to people on that platform. When you give a platform to anybody, they have a voice on that platform, whether that voice is a positive or a negative. Ads don't bother me. I hardly watch Twitch anymore because some streams have 14 minutes worth of ads. Yeah, I know. I try to lessen to 1.5 minutes every 30 minutes. I will watch a couple of minutes of ads, no problem, but I will stick around for any ads longer than 6 minutes. I feel you, Reaper. All platforms, exactly. All platforms have their assholes. To base a platform off of a few of their streamers is wrong. Judging a book by its cover without actually getting to know any of the other content creators on there, in my opinion, is wrong. It's like Twitter, right? People have Twitter and Blue Sky. And people are like, well, I'm not going to Twitter because it's all racist and MAGA, blah, 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 right? But that's not true. Twitter is not just right-wing politics. It has an array of creators from an array of walks of life and different culture. So to judge an entire platform based on 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 people compared to the thousands that are on there, in my opinion, you shouldn't. You should try the platform, check it out, see what it's like. That's just my opinion on the matter. If you don't like a platform, you don't like a platform. Go for it. I know people that don't like YouTube. I know people who hate Twitch. 8-Bit despises Twitch, so he doesn't come here. However, he likes YouTube and he likes Kick. I know a lot of people who don't like Twitch, and a lot of the horde that came from Beam didn't like Twitch. So not a lot of them, but a majority of the horde that didn't like Twitch stayed to YouTube. They don't come to Twitch at all, because they don't like Twitch. They think it's a shitty platform. People forget that we used to watch more ads when we watched movies and TV. Yeah, definitely. It's just like all workplaces. There is politics no matter where you. Yeah, there's bullshit everywhere you go. It doesn't really matter where you are. YouTube, it has a skip. Some ads, Don. Some ads you can skip. Not always. Wasn't Twitch banned out his way though? I don't remember if it was banned out his way. However, there are things that he doesn't agree with Twitch. Well, it is progressively getting more and more like that, though. Everywhere there's assholes. Understandable. I know a couple people who are on the green site, but it's mainly because of the gambling sponsorship. I know people who are on the green site that don't gamble at all. They don't promote it. They don't use it. They don't see it. But either way, I can see why 8-Bit would prefer another platform. Yeah, 8-Bit prefers other platforms. He doesn't like Twitch. He has his reasons. I know his reasons. And, you know, I don't blame that either. I will put my content anywhere that I feel safe on. I like the green side of things. I like Kick. It's small still. It's got a small feel to it. In the beginning, I really didn't care for it. And then as I've been on there, watching people on there, for instance, I watch a guy named Lurk on Kick. And very chill stream, 420, super friendly 420, plays music, and it's just a chill vibe. You can literally lurk in there while you're cleaning the house, which is what I do. And he's got some pretty sick music that goes on. You know, I don't associate myself with people like Aiden Ross or any of those people. I mean, to each their own if you do. I don't judge, whatever. There's content for everybody on regardless of the platform. Yes, the lurk that comes in here. Yeah. I find Blue Sky is a good source for retro game info. Blue Sky, it's like saying Blue Sky is only full of furries. Exactly. You can't judge a cover. You can't judge a book by its cover, because if that was the case, we'd never see some of the really good horror movies that we have today, because we used to just judge it right off of the art book on the artwork of the VHS. Not everyone's going to agree. Like I said, the platforms are platforms. And Basement Cat, to answer your question, wherever I can make a community at, I'm going to make a community at. The community is more important to me than the monies. Money can always be made. Remember that. Even your job. You don't like your job? Change it. Money can always be made. Community, on the other hand, friendship, camaraderie, that can't always be made everywhere. Pat, how are you? And my goal is to have the horde shambling across the world. So if that means I can put my content on Kick, YouTube, Patreon supposedly is getting a live streaming service, I'm going to fucking do it. Instagram's a pain in my ass, so I don't do it. But you've got TikTok. You have my shit's on everything. Why put myself in a box when I can expand? Good. I watched Screamboat yesterday. What a piece of shit. That's funny. Oh, my Lord. We are going to be ending here in just a few minutes. Raw's content is like Frank's Red Hot. That shit, that stuff is put on everything. You got that right. You still on Soup, Raw? Haven't had. I do go on Soup, but unfortunately for Soup, I really like the platform, but growth is literally nil. Growth for me, I've been on that platform and I was streaming consecutively every day for months. And I have not grown on that platform. That platform needs more exposure. That's the biggest issue. Sounds good, Kirby. You have yourself a great day. Soup needs more exposure. They need more, just plain and simple, more exposure. I'm still on there, but the growth is so nil when I can grow other places, right? As a full-time content creator, I need to be able to diversify my content. I need growth, right? We do have an ad break that's going to end here in a minute, and then I will go and do my credits. But enjoying different platforms is a benefit, especially if you are a creator. And I do want to say, that I am very grateful and thankful for those of you that watch my content across the board, whether it's my Instagram or my Twitter or Kick, YouTube, Twitch, Soup, Patreon. I am grateful for any and all support that you guys do on any of these platforms. Patreon, like I said, they're testing live streaming. That's going to be a game changer if they do that right. Just think about the platform of Patreon. If you've never been on a Patreon before, Patreon gives you a community page. It's very similar to YouTube in that aspect, where you can have a community tab and you can talk to your people, you can talk to your members, you can talk to your subscribers, which are two different things on YouTube. You can post content. The only thing that holds YouTube back is that they don't have just an audio thing, where Patreon has just audio. You don't have to upload a video. You don't have to add a video. You just have audio and you can upload an audio. I still have Soup on my phone. I have news on internet soon, but we'll tell on Disco. Sounds good, Darkbreaker. My mic is now working. Awesome, Galaxy. Hello, Dinah. But yes, like Patreon is looking at getting into live streaming. And I think that's going to be a game changer for a lot of people, especially since they offer a 70 higher percentage and you can control all the tiers and all the perks yourself. But we'll see what happens to that. We'll see what happens to that. But I do want to say thank you, Regal. Hello. We've got our ads. May the 4th be with you as well, good sir. May the 4th be with you. May you have a great weekend. But thank you so very much, guys, for your support. Thank you for the cross-platform support. Thank you for everything that you do, whether you lurk in this chat or you chat in this chat, you throw a tab up and clean your house while listening. I greatly appreciate you. I appreciate you guys that like my content on Twitter, Instagram, all the socials. You guys are pretty amazing for that support, and I thank you for that. That is like the freest support you can do, and I am grateful that you guys take it upon yourselves to do that. Thank you very much. And I'm thankful for you guys watching the stream on whatever platform you prefer, any platform you prefer. So thank you very, very much. I love your guts. You mean you could love faces, but I'd rather play with your guts than your face. I don't know. That's why my emote is love your guts. Hopefully movie night will still be happening. Fingers crossed, Darkbreaker. Fingers crossed. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and chit-chatting. Tom Savini in Coffee Chat of Horrors. We will be live Monday, and we are diving into The Last of Us 2. We're grateful for your streams. Thank you, Mischief. Thank you very much. I mean, I think we all help each other. I know that hanging out with you guys definitely helps my own mental health, whether it's on a live stream or it's hanging out in the Discord on a Friday night playing silly-ass games. Love your faces and guts. Yeah, I love your faces and guts. See you tomorrow, Don. Yes, tomorrow morning, Monday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, we are diving into The Last of Us 2. I will be playing on my PlayStation. And I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. I hope you have a lot of fun and enjoy the sun and just have a good time. And I hope when you go to bed tonight that you sleep like the dead. So what STD flew around on? Oh, you don't want to know, Mischief Maker. There was a lot. You have BL3 now. Awesome, Galaxy. Awesome. Until next time, my ghouls, I love your guts, and I will slash yous all later. Bye.